Dame Dash once helped build Rockefeller into a hip-hop empire. But today his name is tied more to lawsuits and public meltdowns than legacy. How does a man who once stood at the top of the culture end up fighting for relevance? Let's break down the rise, the fall, and the lesson behind Dame Dash's story. Hey everyone, back with another episode of Celebrity Junk. Today, we're diving headfirst into the whirlwind that is Dame Dash. For someone who hasn't been front and center in pop culture since the late 90s or early 2000s, Dame seems to be making headlines constantly for all the wrong reasons. It's almost ironic that a man who helped shape an entire era of hip-hop culture is now more known for his public meltdowns than his achievements. Bankruptcy filings, public confrontations on platforms like The Breakfast Club, and ongoing feuds with folks like Cameron have made him a target for endless online roasting. Even the Harlem community, which once rallied behind him, seems to be witnessing the drama with a mixture of disbelief and resignation. Let's be real for a moment. Dame Dash's current trajectory is, frankly, sad. When you consider the cultural legacy of Rockefeller Records, it's hard not to feel a twinge of disappointment. Rockefeller wasn't just a record label, it was a movement, a brand, a lifestyle. Back in the 90s, people like me were all about celebrating not just the music, but the empire Dame helped build alongside Jay-Z and Kareem Biggs Burke. They weren't just producing tracks, they were creating a cultural phenomenon that permeated fashion, business, and street culture. Rockaware, the music. The aesthetic soul of it was a reflection of an innovative vision that combined style with substance. Fast forward to today, and it's clear that some of Dame's personal choices and infamous attitude have undercut that legacy. There's no denying that his role in the formation of Rockefeller and Rockaware was revolutionary. He brought a business-minded approach to hip-hop when few others did, laying the groundwork for artists to think beyond music, to see themselves as brands. Yet, it's equally undeniable that his inability or perhaps unwillingness to adapt to new realities has cost him dearly. You can't ignore the contrast when you look at Jay-Z's trajectory after their split. While Jay-Z soared to unprecedented heights, expanding into ventures like ROC Nation, streaming partnerships, and even professional sports ownership, Dame struggled to maintain relevance. That contrast is striking, not just in terms of financial success, but in influence, public perception, and cultural impact. Now, Dame seems to be pouring much of his energy into disputes, legal battles, and public arguments, almost as if he's trying to reclaim some sense of power or relevance by stirring the pot. But here's the catch. The people he references in these public feuds, 50 Cent, Cameron, Mazar, all thriving, quietly or loudly, without needing to validate themselves through controversy. 50 Cent, for instance, continues to dominate in business and entertainment, expanding his portfolio into television, film, and consumer products. Cameron, the artist Dame once managed, leveraged his talents into a multi-million-dollar deal with a betting company. Despite falling out with Maze, who himself remains an influential figure in hip-hop, everyone Dame points to is moving forward, innovating, and capitalizing on the present moment, while he seems trapped in the rearview mirror, nostalgically replaying past glories. This situation raises a broader question about legacy and influence in hip-hop and business. Fame and success are fleeting if they're not continually nurtured and reinvented. Dame Dash is an example of someone whose past achievements were monumental but whose present actions have diminished his standing. It's one thing to be remembered for what you did in your prime, but it's another to actively participate in the culture of relevance today. Dame's current public persona, centered around disputes and grievances, doesn't showcase innovation or leadership. It highlights regression and conflict. Furthermore, there's an important lesson here about perception versus reality. Dame Dash seems to operate under the belief that his historical significance should automatically command respect and open doors. In business and entertainment, that's rarely the case. Influence is earned through tangible actions, strategic decisions, and the ability to bring value to others in the present. When someone like 50 Cent enters a room, people immediately understand what he can contribute. Brand partnerships, creative direction, market influence. When Dame enters a similar scenario, what does he bring? There's a perception of power, but no tangible offering to match the perception. That mismatch is what leads to the public ridicule and the sense that he's stuck in the past. Let's also consider the psychological element of this story. Dame Dash's current behavior reflects a common struggle among people who have experienced extreme early success. The difficulty of reconciling past identity with present reality. When you were at the top of your game and had near absolute influence over a cultural movement, It's natural to expect that respect and authority to endure indefinitely, but time changes markets, audiences, and tastes. Without a strategy to evolve alongside these changes, the power that once felt permanent begins to erode. In Dame's case, this erosion is magnified by his highly public lifestyle and confrontational approach, making every misstep visible and subject to criticism. At the same time, it's not all negative. Dame Dash's story offers valuable insights into the dynamics of influence, business strategy, and personal branding. One of the key takeaways is the concept of leverage. In business, leverage isn't about nostalgia or past accomplishments. It's about what you can bring to the table today that others can benefit from. Dame's past success is undeniable, but it's not a current asset. He can't open doors, create deals, or offer resources in the way he could during the height of ROCFella. Meanwhile, contemporaries, like 50 Cent, Cameron, and even Mays have figured out how to translate their past achievements into present-day influence, continuously reinventing themselves and maintaining relevance. Dame Dash's public feuds and lawsuits also highlight another critical factor. Perception matters as much as reality in the world of celebrity and business. People aren't just evaluating what you've done, they're evaluating your current utility, your demeanor, and your approach to relationships. When you appear combative or disconnected from the current environment, it diminishes the respect people are willing to extend, regardless of your historical impact. The lesson here is clear. Maintaining legacy is not just about having a past. It's about demonstrating value in the present moment. Lastly, there's the cultural aspect to consider. Hip-hop has evolved into a global industry where innovation and current relevance often outweigh historical accomplishments. While in sports, legends like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant can retire and still command respect. Hip-hop is more transactional in terms of influence. People respect what you do now, not necessarily what you did decades ago. Dame Dash's inability to maintain that relevance underscores a broader truth about the nature of cultural capital. It must be continuously earned, not passively assumed. So, as the dust settles, it's clear that Dame Dash played a central role in much of the current drama, but his legacy is complicated. He is a visionary who helped define an era, yet his current missteps overshadowed much of what he built. He has spoken out publicly, attempting to assert his place once again. But the response shows that influence must be paired with actionable value. The story of Dame Dash is both fascinating and cautionary, a reminder that past achievements, while remarkable, are not enough to secure perpetual influence. To stay relevant, one must continually evolve, create tangible value, and understand the dynamics of the world as it exists today, not as it did decades ago.
You know, I'm sitting here on the dock, looking at the view, and I'm thinking, like, why am I beefing with Cam? And the only reason why is because I just never got to talk to him. He publicly said he wasn't going to talk to me, but almost every OG from Harlem and everyone I respect is like, yo, cut this, it's embarrassing. So, you know, Daniel spoke to Cam and we could resolve this. I just want to talk to him and it's over. And if you need to, you know, because we can't publicly have us as black people beefing with each other. That's just what they want. They use us to tear each other down. They don't do it. We do it to ourselves, but they usually pay us to do it. And I'm not going to get caught up in that. So I prefer to squash this. I want to apologize to Harlem because I know this was embarrassing for Harlem. And I'm man enough, but...
Man, I really want to be respectful here. But what is he even saying? I mean, come on. People aren't clamoring to talk to you anymore because you're not the same person you were back in the day. And yet, you refuse to admit that right now. Dame Dash is all over the place filing lawsuits, stirring drama, and acting like he's still running the show. But honestly, he looks weaker. There's no other way to put it. All the stories we've heard about him being difficult to work with, the money owed, the bad reputation, it's all catching up. You can't just act like nothing happened and expect people to jump back in with you for some big movie deal or collaboration. Here's the heart of the issue. Dame Dash doesn't understand leverage. In business, especially in the black community, leverage is about what you bring to the table right now. What tangible value can someone gain from working with you today? The past can't be your bargaining chip. And Dame, he hasn't moved the needle for anyone in decades. He can't open doors in the music industry, in business partnerships, or in entertainment anymore. So when he says, let's make a movie together, or tries to recreate the magic of the 90s. It's not about respect or nostalgia, it's about the reality that nobody needs him the way they once did. Everyone he once collaborated with is doing better than he is. The market doesn't recognize him as a key player anymore. Believing in yourself is powerful. And I get it, confidence is essential, but there's a difference between confidence and misreading your actual influence. Right now, Dame is essentially saying, let me back in because I need you. And that's a problem. In today's entertainment world, no one can build a brand or close a deal just because of Dame Dash's name. You can't walk into a meeting with a distributor or a brand and expect leverage, like you had in the 90s. Only a handful of people, like LeBron or Shannon Sharpe, hold that kind of sway. And Dame, he doesn't. The reality is that respect in hip-hop or any industry isn't based on what you did 25 years ago. Influence is earned and proven today. You can't rely on nostalgia to keep your empire alive. Right now, Dame Dash needs to reckon with the fact that the world has moved on. And so has the market. You know, the reality is that the past doesn't carry the same weight it used to. People aren't just handing out respect because of what you did decades ago. In today's world, it's all about what you're doing now. In sports, you see legends like Michael Vick in Atlanta still earning respect even though he's long retired. That kind of reverence still exists in some arenas. But in hip-hop, not so much. Being a big name in the 90s or early 2000s doesn't automatically make you relevant today. If you were a top producer back then, you still need to prove you're making an impact now for people to take you seriously. And that's where Dame Dash runs into trouble. He can't demonstrate tangible value in the present. He can't walk into a room and show, here's what I bring right now. Here's what I can do for you today. Contrast that with someone like Cameron or 50 Cent. They can clearly show their worth. 50 Cent can walk into a city like Shreveport, Louisiana, and say, this is the impact I'm bringing to your economy, and people listen. That's leverage. That's proof. That's respect earned through action. Not nostalgia. The lesson here is crucial. Believing in yourself is one thing, but influence only counts if you can prove it. You need to consistently deliver value, evolve, and show progress every year. If you're not moving forward, you're regressing and people notice. In today's culture, action speaks louder than legacy. Think about it. The world has no shortage of people who used to matter, who had a moment, who once stood in the spotlight but failed to evolve. They live off the fumes of old achievements, hoping people still remember, still care, still give them opportunities. But the truth is, time moves forward whether you do or not. Respect is no longer earned just once in a career, it has to be continually renewed through action, growth, and relevance. That's why someone like 50 Cent commands attention wherever he goes. His career started with music, but he didn't stop there. He diversified into television, film, liquor, business ventures, investments, and strategic partnerships. He has shown proof that he can bring measurable results. Cities and corporations alike take him seriously because he doesn't just speak, he shows the receipts. Now, compare that to others who had the talent but lacked the strategy or discipline to expand. Nostalgia might give them a headline or a quick paycheck, but it doesn't build sustainable leverage. Legacy alone can't open the same doors that present-day results can. That's the key difference. Nostalgia is a story about the past. Proof is a demonstration in the present. And in our current culture, hyper-connected, fast-moving, attention-driven people don't want just stories. They want evidence. They want to see how you can add value now, not 10 years ago. They want to know why you deserve their time, their money, their trust today. That's why showing progress, year after year, is so critical. The people who thrive are those who refuse to stand still. They reinvent, they adapt, they embrace change instead of resisting it. This is why influence must always be tied to results. Influence without proof is just empty charisma. You might get people to listen for a while, but eventually they'll tune out if you can't deliver. Proof is what sustains influence. It transforms attention into respect. It turns conversations into contracts. It converts doubt into belief. Look at business leaders, athletes, or entertainers who remain relevant over decades. They don't rely solely on what they did in the past. They continue to evolve, to show they are still capable of impact today. LeBron James didn't stop after winning championships. He built schools, launched businesses, and invested in media ventures. Jay-Z didn't stop after platinum albums. He became a billionaire by building brands and buying stakes in companies. These are examples of proof, not nostalgia. Their influence is rooted in undeniable results. And the truth is, anyone can learn from this principle, not just celebrities. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, a creative, or a leader in your community, the rule is the same. People will respect what you can demonstrate. You might have a great idea, a bold vision, or an inspiring story, but if you can't translate that into consistent results, your influence fades. Think about your workplace. The colleague who consistently brings value, solves problems, and evolves their skills will always be seen as indispensable. Meanwhile, the person who constantly talks about what they used to do or how things used to be quickly loses credibility. Progress matters. Results matter, and progress doesn't have to be monumental every time. It can be steady, incremental growth. The key is showing that you are moving forward, that you're not stuck. Even small improvements, stacked over time, become undeniable proof. People pay attention to that, they respect it, they trust it now. Here's where belief and proof intersect. Belief in yourself is the foundation. You need that internal conviction to take risks, to put yourself out there, to push forward even when the odds feel stacked against you. But belief alone isn't enough. Belief has to be backed by execution. You have to translate that internal confidence into external action. Otherwise, it becomes self-delusion confidence without evidence. This is why discipline is so important. Discipline is what bridges belief and proof. It's the daily grind of showing up, delivering, refining, and improving. It's the quiet, consistent work that stacks up into undeniable evidence. That's how you earn respect, not by demanding it, not by reminiscing about past glory, but by proving yourself over and over again. And here's the hard truth. If you're not proving your value, you're losing it. The culture we live in doesn't wait. Someone else is always hungry, always working, always ready to show their worth. If you stay stagnant, you fall behind. The gap widens, and eventually, you're forgotten. That's why the idea of legacy can be dangerous if it makes you complacent. Legacy should inspire you to keep building, not give you permission to stop. When 50 Cent walks into Shreveport and says, "This is the impact I'm bringing," it's not arrogance, it's documentation, it's evidence. He can point to dollars generated, jobs created, attention brought, and partnerships established. That's why people listen. That's why mayors, business leaders, and communities take him seriously. He doesn't just claim influence, he demonstrates it. Imagine applying this mindset to your own life. Instead of saying, "I believe I can make a difference," you gather proof by actually doing it. Instead of talking about your goals, you show evidence of progress. Instead of relying on old wins, you keep stacking new ones. Over time, you build a track record that speaks louder than any words. That's how you build leverage. That's how you create undeniable influence. It's also how you gain freedom. Proof gives you options. When you can show results, you don't have to beg for opportunities, they come to you. You don't have to convince people to believe in you, they already do, because they've seen it. Proof eliminates doubt, both from others and from yourself. It creates confidence rooted in reality.
It also comes with violence. And I can't be violent, and I won't be violent. And I don't want any of my friends to be violent. My job is to keep them out of jail. So the only way I can deal with things, keep certain things out of the algorithm, is to answer as soon as somebody says something. And my version of violence is just lawsuits. If I could take it to the streets, I would, but we can't. And the Italian Godfather, part 2, he killed his brother. The black Godfather don't kill his brother. He teaches his brother. So, again, if y'all want to sit down and work it out, I don't even want to be a part of that project that y'all doing. I don't really understand what it is. But I feel like 50, Cam, me, if together we show that we could be beefing, pause, and then come together and maybe do a TV show together, something different. Or a movie or something, just showing the world that we can work together. And we would prove everyone wrong. They love us tearing each other down, and I'm not doing that shit. And I apologize to my OGs for embarrassing y'all. But I just wanted to talk to him. And he finally talked to, he finally replied when I hit him with the lawsuit. And I was like, nah, now go talk to Daniel. And if you want to, Daniel, if you want, please arrange us to have a sit down. You can bring who you want. And also 50, you're invited too. But instead of us talking about each other on social media like clowns, let's sit down and talk like real men. Let's take this off the street. The street right now is the internet, and this is corny. So I don't want to fight with y'all no more. Now, I heart, that's different. and revolt. Detavio, same thing. You stopped replying to me 2 days before I went to the Breakfast Club, but I don't work for you. I am the chairman. When I'm on Revolt with my content, I'm the chairman because I don't talk to your staff. I talk to mine, which I have. I'm the chairman of America New when it's on Revolt. So to me, if the Breakfast, I won't get into it, but we can have a sit down too, because I'm not going to stop legally. I'm going to respond. That's what I didn't do before. And this is what I've learned. This is the only way I could fight.
So the challenge is simple but powerful. Prove it. Prove your value every year, every season, every project. Don't settle for nostalgia. Don't rely on old stories. Build new ones. Stack new evidence. Keep moving forward, because in today's world, legacy might get you remembered, but proof is what gets you respected. And respect, once earned through consistent results, becomes the foundation for everything else: opportunity, influence, wealth, and impact. Action, not nostalgia. Proof, not just belief. That's the difference between fading into the background and becoming a force people can't ignore.